And good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Aaron White here in the 10 TV Weather Center as we are tracking a winter storm on its way here as we head through the next couple of days. We got a lot going on. It's been a long day, I will say that, and a lot to talk about here as we dive into the forecast as we head into the weekend. So as we are going through for the next 30 minutes, if you're watching us here on Facebook Live, if you're watching us on 10 TV Plus, you can see there at the bottom of your screen that number right there. If you have any questions about what's going on here for your area as we head through the weekend with a lot of snow on the way, you can text it to 614-460-3345. I'll get those questions right here to the laptop and also be going through on Facebook Live. If you have any questions specifically, I'll be looking at them on Facebook Live as well. So let's go ahead and dive into the forecast right now as we are tracking that 10 weather impact alert here for the next several days. It's not just going to be the winter storm and the snow. It's also going to be some bitter cold as we head into early next week. And we're already feeling some of that right now as our temperatures are dropping down to the single digits and wind chill factors are already below zero. So we got some pretty cold conditions on the way again as we head into next week. And here's a look at our storm as we go through the weekend. We are talking about a lot of heavy snow making its way through across much of the country and even a lot of ice accumulation as we go through really the next several days as we are tracking a lot to happen here as we go through the forecast. We are talking about even more significant ice accumulation the further south you go. Parts of northern Georgia, Atlanta, a major hub as we are talking about some heavy ice accumulation and even more heavy snow the further north you go. So again, a lot going on here with the forecast. And we have winter storm warnings that are in effect across much of the area, central and southern Ohio. We have those winter storm warnings that go into effect here tomorrow night through Sunday, as we are tracking that heavy snow making its way through. Again, that does include Columbus, that includes Delaware, that includes Waverly, Chillicothe. It really actually includes a good portion of the entire state of Ohio, except for the northwestern corner there, where they will still see some snow, but the higher impacts are going to be felt across central and really southern Ohio, even all the way up to into the Cleveland area, as we are expecting moderate to potentially major impacts from this winter storm, especially the further south you go, where we likely will see some heavier snowfall totals, possibly more than a foot in some locations. Now, I'm not tracking any snow here tonight. We just got those very cold conditions as temperatures again dropping down to near zero here during the overnight hours. Wind chill factors, that real feel when you factor the temperature and the wind, it's going to feel like it's down to near 15 below by late tonight, tomorrow morning. So bitter cold conditions on the way. If you're planning on any errands tomorrow morning ahead of the snow, just keep in mind it's going to be pretty cold. But let's talk about that storm. Where is it? Well, still pretty far away. It's finally making its way through the southwestern part of the United States, and it's kicking out some heavy rain there in Arizona, New Mexico, but out ahead of that, look at all that moisture building in across really the southern plains. Texas, rain, snow, ice, heavy snow already developing there in Oklahoma City, and then even more snow up into parts of Kansas. And that is what's coming our way as it will arrive here by this time tomorrow evening. 24 hours from now, there will be some snow in Ohio, and by 48 hours from now, the snow is going to start to wrap up, but we got some heavy snow on the way late Saturday night and really throughout the day on Sunday. But I just want to talk about just how large a storm this is because it encompasses a large part of the country. As we saw, the snow already happening in parts of Oklahoma and Texas. All the pink that you see on the map here, those are all winter storm warnings. So those go from New Mexico and Texas all the way across the Midwest, even into parts of Massachusetts up to Boston, New York City, a large part of New York State in winter storm warning. So again, it's not just us. This is going to be one of those storms that causes some major travel disruptions in terms of normal travel conditions on the roads, but also the airports. Going to see this really affecting many airports across the country and even some of the major hubs Of course, Atlanta being one of the largest hubs for Delta and actually one of the world's busiest airports, they're under ice storm warnings and winter weather advisories down there for a lot of heavy freezing rain. And that's going to cause some problems, of course, there. But also back to the west, Dallas getting some snow and ice. American Airlines hub, they're going to see some big impacts as well, all the way up into the East Coast, really, from Washington, D.C. through Philadelphia, New York, and Boston, likely going to see some heavy snow and even potential for some ice accumulation. Closer to home, here's a look at the winter storm warnings. Again, like I said, it encompasses most of the state of Ohio under a winter storm warning. Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, all under the warning. And even into the northwestern corner, there are still winter storm watches. The concern is going to be how far north do we get some of that heavier snow, and that's why we don't have any warnings or even advisories in effect quite yet from the National Weather Service. They're waiting to see how far north some of that heavier snow could get, and if that will include the northwestern part of Ohio. It is possible that Toledo even could get some heavier snowfall. So it's not just us, it's a large part of Ohio. Pretty much the entire state will see at least some snow, but the heaviest is going to be across central and southern Ohio here for us. So let's go ahead and go through the hour-by-hour forecast. Tomorrow evening, 6:30, we have snow near and south of I-70. That's where it's going to start, but it's going to continue to build through as we go through the night. Watch what happens as we get towards midnight and just thereafter. The snow starts to get a bit more widespread. So we're talking about more snow for everyone, and it continues through the night. And here's what's going to happen. After midnight and closer to the morning hours, that snow is going to get heavy. And this is what we're talking about. That deep, dark blue, that's heavy snow, and that's going to continue through the morning. Here we are, 10 a.m. We're talking about several hours of heavy snow, that deep blue showing up there across the area. It continues through the afternoon, and then once we get towards the evening on Sunday, that's about the time when things are going to gradually start to wrap up. But even by then, there will still be some light snow falling, but by Sunday night, after 10 p.m. and by Monday morning, the snow is going to be out of here, and by that time, we are talking about some heavy snow accumulation. So once everything is all said and done, this is our latest snowfall forecast. We haven't made really any changes. The biggest change that we made today was bringing that purple, the 8 to 12 inches, just ever so slightly further to the north. But it's been on track for the last 2 days that we've been tracking 6 to 12 inches of snow accumulation across central and southern Ohio. That has not changed. The amounts really have not changed at all in the last 2 days. It's just been more about refining where some of that heaviest snow is going to fall. And that's been pretty consistent across areas near and to the south of Interstate 70. I think that's where we're going to see more reports of 10, upwards of 12 inches going to be south of I-70, and especially across southern Ohio. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some reports, Chillicothe even, Waverly, Piketon to Athens, of getting closer to 11, 12, even 13 inches of snowfall. Not out of the question. One concern that we have, though, that we're watching for is going to be how far north some of the warmer air gets. And there have been a few indications that we could see some of that warmer air getting closer to southern Ohio, and that could lead to some heavier snowfall. It could also lead to, if it gets warm enough, the potential for some sleet, some freezing rain, ice to mix in with that snow. That's going to also lead to some more problems if, in fact, we get a mixture of snow, ice, freezing rain, all that across southern Ohio. So we are watching the trend right now. A majority, I would say 95% of what's going to fall is going to be snow, especially for areas north. It's going to be all snow. 95% is going to be snow across southern Ohio. There's just going to be a little window, whether it's 30 minutes or a couple of hours, where we could see a mixture. And we'll, again, be watching that likely for Sunday morning into the midday hours that we could see that changeover. But right now, again, everything is still on track here for a lot of snowfall. So I showed this map before. This is, again, the overall impacts, and we are expecting moderate to major impacts across much of Ohio here from this upcoming winter storm. And it's not just the snow, it's going to be the cold temperatures as well. And one thing I want to just kind of mention about these colder temperatures here, going into Sunday, notice our high temperature, we only get to 22 degrees. A lot of times when we get some of these larger storms, we usually get some warmer air. We get closer to freezing, and we tend to get those heavy wet snows a lot of times, and this is not going to be one of them. This is going to be one of those storms where we have some of those larger snowflakes, and they're a little bit drier. There's not as much moisture because they're not the temperature's not closer to freezing, so they're not melting really as they're coming down. So it's not going to be that snow that's easily compactable. You can't make snowballs, snowmen out of them. It's going to be that more fluffy, still heavy snow, but it's not going to be a good snow for making snowballs or snowmen, but good powder for other winter activities. So that's what we have going on here for the weekend, as our temperatures are going to be pretty cold. And the other thing too is these colder temperatures, well, the snow on the ground, the fresh snow that we have going in as we go through tonight, well, that's going to lock us into the colder temperatures here as we go through the forecast. As we go through the 7 days, we are going to basically just get locked into some very cold conditions here, really, as we go through the next several days with those 10 weather impacts alert, especially Tuesday morning. You'll notice that temperature down to 2 degrees below zero here, and we keep those temperatures down well below freezing. It's not going to be for a while until we actually get temperatures back to near normal, until well after the next 7 to 10 days. So again, it is going to be a while here as we go through the forecast. So right now, I'm going to leave you on this map, and I want to go through our Facebook Live here and just kind of look at some questions that you guys have about what's going on here. So just bear with me just for a moment as I scroll through here on Facebook. And also, again, if you have any questions about this winter storm, if you're just joining us right now, you can text the number. All you have to do is grab your phone right now and text the number 614-460-3345. You can see it there at the bottom of your screen. Just text that number and I'll answer some of your questions. And one of the questions that we have right now, asking about thunder snow. And that's a good question because it's something we don't see too often, and hear really too often. It's getting some lightning and thunder, some of those thunderstorms that actually produce snow and not rain. So the concern right now for that to actually happen, likely going to be further south of the area. It's usually we get the thunder snow when we're closer to that freezing line, closer to where temperatures are into the lower 30s, maybe even above, even into the upper 20s. But because our temperatures around central Ohio going to be a little bit colder, I don't think that we're going to really hear any thunder or see any lightning with some of the snow. But the better chance of that happening would likely be in parts of West Virginia, maybe far southern Ohio, perhaps as north as Piketon to Waverly to Athens. That's a chance that we could hear some thunder. And then especially into northern Kentucky and then back to the south and west, I think across parts of southern Missouri, northern Arkansas, even in parts of Oklahoma right now, not out of the question to hear some of that thunder with potential for some thunder snow leading to that heavy, heavy snowfall. So I'll say the chances there, it's a little bit lower, but we'll be watching the trend to see if we actually see any lightning popping up. And if that warmer air gets a little bit further north, leading to that potential for some rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow all mixing together in southern Ohio, then we would have that chance for maybe hearing some thunder snow. Let's see, another question asking about flying home through Orlando tomorrow. Not getting home till 8. Chances of flights being delayed and canceled. Tomorrow should be fine. If you're going on the East Coast, if you're not going through areas like, if you're not going through Dallas or, say, Atlanta even, likely should be fine. If you were coming back on Sunday, that'd be the day to be concerned, because that's when a lot of these impacts are really going to be felt, especially for our area and really across the eastern third of the United States. It's going to be at least tonight and tomorrow that it's going to be more across the central and southern plains, going into at least the western parts of the Midwest early on. So by later in the evening, I would say there will be some snow falling in Ohio. It's not going to be the heavy stuff. That's not going to happen until after midnight. So things at least looking okay there. Another question asking, let's see, how much snow overall that we're going to get. And let's go ahead and I'm going to skip ahead to that snowfall map. So bear with me just for a moment here as I skip ahead through some graphics. And we've been saying it for the last several days. Our snowfall forecast has been pretty much on track. So there you go. This is our latest snowfall forecast that we are expecting 6 to 12 inches across the area, all of central and southern Ohio, likely at least a half a foot. Now, there is a chance that we could get some drier air mixing into the north. Now, that could cut down the numbers a little bit the further northwest you go. So I'm talking about areas around Kenton and Bucyrus, could be down to 4 or 5 inches, but the likelihood of that happening right now, it's a little bit on the lower side, but I just want to mention that is a possibility. So while that could happen, some areas further south of I-70, while we're saying 8 to 12, there may be a couple spots that pick up 13, maybe closer to 14 inches of snow. There have actually been some indications on some of the computer projections that some even heavier snow, not out of the question, just to our south. So if we see some ever subtle shifts in the track of the storm and where some of that higher moisture, that heavier snow builds in, well, that could change things up a little bit here heading into tomorrow night and through the day on Sunday. So right now, generally speaking, 8 to 12, a pretty safe bet for most of central and southern Ohio. Further north you go, the amounts will decrease, and the further south you go, the amounts will increase. So the likelihood of us seeing more than a foot of snow north of I-70 is pretty low. Higher chances are going to be south, but even north of I-70, 6 to 10, 12 inches, not out of the realm of possibility, but I think the higher chances for 10 to 12 is going to be likely south of I-70. So that's what we got going on, at least with the overall snowfall forecast. And then let's see, we got another question asking about timing for the snow to move into Columbus. So roughly, this is our start time. 7 p.m., 6 p.m., light to maybe some moderate snowfall. Now, we will see some snow across central and southern Ohio tomorrow evening, but what I want to emphasize is that while roads will start to get slippery, the heaviest of the snow is not going to be until after midnight. So we're not going to see a foot of snow by tomorrow night. It's not going to be until Sunday night, once the snow is all over, that we'll actually see those amounts. So let's go ahead and go through the hour-by-hour forecast here, tracking all that snow, because it's going to be occurring over a long period of time from Saturday evening through Sunday evening, 24 hours of some snow. And some of the heaviest snow will occur during the daytime hours on Sunday. And so even if you wake up Sunday morning, again, there's not going to be a foot of snow on the ground Sunday morning. Sunday night, Monday morning, maybe a different story. So here's a look at what we got going on. By 10 p.m., we still have some scattered light to moderate snow making its way through. By midnight, it becomes a bit more widespread, and it continues to stay widespread all the way through the night and all the way through Sunday morning. And watch what happens here. 7 a.m., notice the color. We go from some white to light blue to dark blue. That indicates heavy snow, moderate to heavy snow building in. And watch as we continue through time. Notice even darker spots of blue showing up there. That indicates heavy snowfall And if we get some warmer air mixing in, well, then that could lead to that chance I mentioned of maybe hearing some thunder, but those chances are pretty low. But in any case, whether that happens or not, it's going to be heavy snow coming down here for several hours all the way through Sunday afternoon. By Sunday evening, things gradually start to taper off. But here we are, 7 p.m. So 7 p.m. Saturday, 7 p.m. Sunday, that 24-hour span, that's a good portion of the snowfall. There will be a little bit outside of that, but the accumulation really happening after midnight Saturday night. So by 7 p.m., things do start to taper off, and it quickly gets out of here. There could still be some light snow showers overnight Sunday night, but most of the accumulation will be done by then. So by 10 p.m., once all is said and done, again, here's the snowfall forecast. By Sunday night, this is what we are going to be expecting across central and southern Ohio. So another question asking if Franklin County will get to level 3. Not sure about that one. Again, that's all up to the county, up to the sheriff to determine if conditions warrant that. That will not be determined likely until we get into some of the heavier snow. And we'll have to see what the county and what the sheriff does across really not even just Franklin County, but across all of central and southern Ohio. So just monitor your local area, pay attention to what emergency alerts come out and what you have for snow emergencies in your county as we get into the heart of this winter storm. Another question, I always thought when it gets this cold, too cold for snow. So sometimes when it gets colder, we get drier air as well. That would usually cut down on snowfall. Well, this situation is a bit different. It is cold and there is some drier air further to the north, but what's also happening is we have a big storm building in, and there's a lot of moisture with that storm system. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom this out just to kind of help paint the picture of what's going on here. So we have an area of low pressure that's going to kick out into the southern plains, into the Midwest here for the weekend. And notice what's happening out here ahead of it. We have moisture coming in from the Gulf, and you can see the rain changing over to snow. So there's a lot of cold air in place across much of the central U.S. here into the Midwest. Parts of Minnesota had temperatures down into the 20s to near 30 below zero. Actual temperature, wind chill factors were down to near 50 below earlier today. So there's a lot of cold air locked in. And what's happening is a lot of that moisture is going over top of that colder air, and that's what's leading to ice concerns as there's colder air at the surface. But then once you get further north, it's all falling as snow. So some instances, yes, it can be too cold to snow because it's just too dry more so than anything. But this situation just a little bit different because of how the storm is evolving and all the moisture that is able to be fed into the storm with that colder air that we have in place right now. So good question. And again, a little bit different situation here with what's going on with our snowfall across the area. Chances, let's see, another one asking about chances for Franklin County with the snow emergencies. Again, to see what the county is saying as we head into Saturday night and especially for Sunday with that heavier snow. Another question asking about how much snow for Chillicothe. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the snowfall map. And we got about 5 more minutes. We're going to wrap this up here right around 9 o'clock. If you do have any other questions, I may not get to all of them here in the next 5 minutes, but I'm going to go back and try to answer them through the rest of the evening. So you may get a notification as I try to answer all your questions even after we're done here at 9 p.m. So let's go back to the snowfall map here. So Chillicothe, we have you in the 8 to 12 inch range and likely probably going to be on the higher side. We could be closer to 10, maybe 11, maybe a foot. It's going to really depend on where those heavier snow bands really set up here as we go through Sunday morning into the afternoon. But I've mentioned this before, the further south you are, the better chances that you're going to see some of that heavier snowfall. Further north, of course, not as much, but still enough that's going to cause a lot of problems here. Whether we get 6 inches, 12 inches, it's a lot of snowfall. One storm, we haven't seen for quite some time. Of course, we had some snow back in December. Amounts were a bit on the lower side. They were all pretty much less than 6 inches of snowfall. So we're almost doubling that in many spots here as we head through the weekend. So it's going to be a more significant snowfall. It's occurring on the weekend, which is a better thing because there's not going to be as many people out on the roads. So overall, things will be a little bit better. And this is a good weekend just to stay at home, put some good movies on, find a good TV show, and just sit back and relax, watch the football game here as we head into Sunday, as we are just tracking some of that heavy snow making its way through Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, finally wrapping up here as we head into Sunday night. Another question asking about power outages. The chances are, I'm not going to say they're zero because they're not. Anything can happen, as we see with any storm system that builds in. But what is usually the case is when we have ice, of course, leading to power outages, as that freezing rain collects on the power lines. That'll happen likely across further areas further south where they're getting those ice storms with that heavy freezing rain. Now, when we also have heavy wet snow, again, normally that snow that easily compactable that you can make into snowballs, snowmen, it's heavy and wet, so it actually sticks together and it can collect on the power lines. That could be a chance that we could see some outages across at least areas south of I-70, but more so southern Ohio. So it's a possibility that we are going to be monitoring here as we go through the weekend, especially as we go into Sunday with that heavier snow. The good news, though, we're not tracking any strong winds. Winds should be less than 20 miles per hour. This is not a blizzard. We are not expecting blizzard conditions by any means. There will be some heavy snow. There will be a little bit of wind, but to have a true blizzard, you need winds of at least 35 miles per hour sustained for a long period of time, and we're not going to see anything like that here as we go through the weekend. Let's see, we got just a couple more minutes here. Another question asking about road conditions traveling to New York tomorrow. So should be fine if you're traveling in the morning. If you're leaving tomorrow morning, we're not expecting really much to happen until we get into, again, Saturday evening. So if you leave earlier in the day, driving to New York shouldn't be a problem. And of course, since it's a decent drive from here, yeah, leaving earlier in the day, not going to be a problem. They're not going to get the snow until Sunday. So getting back, depending on what time, what day you're trying to get back, that would be more the concern, is coming back into some of the snow-covered roads. But with the snow being done in New York by midday on Monday, likely the interstates are going to be improving here as we head into Monday night and Tuesday, especially further east. I would say by Monday, most of the interstates here are going to be in a better shape as well. So just monitor the road conditions for the states that you're going to be driving through. And just be safe out there as we are tracking a lot of snow, not just here in Columbus and across Ohio, but of course across much of the United States, as it will be impacting even New York. Here's the look at that winter storm warning that covers most of Ohio. And when we zoom things out again, it does include New York City, winter storm warnings down to Washington, D.C., back to the west, Columbus, St. Louis, Kansas City, Oklahoma City, Dallas. It's hitting a lot of major cities with a winter storm that is already happening right now. Again, we showed the radar picture. We have snow falling across parts of Oklahoma right now into Kansas, and that's some heavy snow already developing, and it's going somewhere, and that's coming our way here as we head into tomorrow. So we're coming up on just about 9 o'clock here. That'll do it for us, at least for this evening. We're going to have more updates coming up tonight at 11 p.m. here on 10 TV Plus and on 10 TV. Watch us live. I'll have the latest forecast on this storm as it tracks across the Midwest going into the weekend. The latest snowfall forecast as well. And I'll go back and answer some of your questions here that I did not get to. And we are also going to have more live updates all weekend long here on 10 TV Plus as we head through this winter storm on Saturday and Sunday.